Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charleston, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, and entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have an interesting episode for you guys. You definitely want to stick around for, so make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, as y'all know, it's the summertime, and sports shows need to come up with interesting things to talk about. That's just the nature of it. And if you're an NBA-centric kind of a sports platform, then you're going to be coming up with quite quirky topics from time to time, just to kind of fill in the dead air, and that's totally understandable. That's how it works in all media, right? It can't be just hot news every single day, right? So we all get that. And yesterday, it seemed as if that's exactly what Undisputed tried to doing, whatever. Yesterday, they produced a segment, and in that segment, they were talking about who are the 5 best players in the NBA currently. And during that segment between Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless, they threw out their lists. And as they were explaining their list, I was totally confounded behind the reasoning that they were using to rank various players at various positions. So before we get into that audio, because we want to definitely play it for you guys, so you guys can definitely take a listen to it, because I think a lot of you, once I give my take on it, I think a lot of you are going to have some questions as well. But before we get into that, this video is brought to you by Aura, who's the sponsor of this video and also the official sponsor of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards, only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. Now let me get into this audio here, and we want to play this audio for you guys, and we want you guys to take a listen to the list that both Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless before they want to come back and react to it. Take a listen to that.
Rank KD among current NBA players.
I still have him in the excuse me. I still have him in the top 5. But I cannot put him ahead of Giannis. I cannot put him ahead of Jokic. I cannot put him ahead of Steph, and I cannot put him ahead of Luka. Skip, Giannis is a much better two-way player. He's dominant on both ends of the court. It is my estimation that Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in the NBA. I got Steph ahead of him because I saw Steph do something that Kevin Durant couldn't do. He lit up that great Boston Celtics defense, a defense in which Kevin Durant struggled against and got swept by. I cannot put him against Jokic. Jokic was a 2-time MVP and drug his team to the 6th seed without his second and third best player. We saw Kevin Durant. Without his second player, he went against what he said earlier in the year. Nah, Kyrie not getting vaccinated. We can't have a part-time player. He acquiesced when he saw that what was transpiring. So I cannot put him ahead of Jokic, and I cannot put him ahead of Luka because I saw Luka drag a team to the Western Conference Finals, and I believe the Western Conference is a little bit more stacked than the Eastern Conference. That's just my estimation. So right now, I cannot have him. I have him at right now, he and Bron tied as the 5th best players in the NBA.
Tied? You've got a tie?
I got a tie between LeBron.
Really?
The mere fact that I don't have Bron at number 1 should tell you that I'm not biased.
He's like 64 years old.
I can't tell.
In basketball
So let me ask you a question.
Right?
Do you hold that against Tom Brady his age, or can he play? Or can he get the job done? LeBron is getting the job done, although he did not play.
You always tell me there's a huge difference between playing quarterback in football and playing guard in basketball.
It absolutely
Right?
is. And Bron is still at the peak of his game. Although he cannot do it on both ends of the court as well as he once could, he can summons up that drive for a couple of plays here and there on the defensive end. But right now, Skip, I have Giannis in front of him. I have Nikola Jokic in front of him. I have Steph Curry in front of him. I have Luka Doncic in front of him. And I just saw Giannis had 34 and 15. That's what he averaged against Boston. This is what KD did. 9 of 24, game 1. 4 of 17 in game 2. 6 of 11 in game 3. And Skip, you remember game 3? He only had 16 points. He took 11 shots, 2 free throws. Jason Tatum went for 39, and he had 1 shot in the fourth quarter. That's what your guy did. And 13 of 31 in game 4. That 13 of 31 reminded me a lot of the Western Conference Finals when they had that 3-1 lead. I didn't tell people. Go back and look at them stats. Like, hey, internet, do what I asked you to do. Go back and look at the Western Conference Finals in 2016 and look at Kevin Durant's stats.
Now, here's what's absurd about all of this, because I sat back and I really tried to mull over what they were talking about, and the more I thought about it, the more I couldn't understand what they were talking about. So let me first of all, let me just repeat Shannon Sharpe's list. His list is as follows: Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, Stephen Curry, Luka Doncic, KD, and LeBron tied at number 5th. What? What kind of list is this? And then Shannon said, he can't put KD ahead of Steph, but then proceeded to put LeBron ahead of KD, or tied or whatever, Jason Tatum, and Joel Embiid. Then he said, the fact that he doesn't have LeBron James at the number 1 proves he's not biased. No, it proves you're not insane. Because if you were to say that, you would be utterly insane for saying that he would be the best player. So let's try to make sense of this. How can you have LeBron and KD tied when, before Kevin Durant got injured last season, the Brooklyn Nets were actually the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, something the Lakers were never at any point in the regular season. Then he got injured, and then they fell in the standings. Whereas the Lakers, on the other hand, the Lakers didn't even make it into the play-in tournament. And at the end of all of that, you somehow have 2 of these players ranked evenly. How the hell does that happen? Okay, so that's what Shannon Sharpe said that actually confused me. And by the way, I'm going to give you guys my top 5, which I believe is 100% better. Some people maybe say, oh, it's just your opinion, but I believe it is, and I'm going to back it up. So that's what he said. Then we get to Skip Bayless's list. Skip Bayless, in his top 5, he has Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and Stephen Curry. The only thing I didn't understand about Skip's list was him having KD ahead of Giannis Antetokounmpo. When Giannis beat the same team, when Giannis took the same team to 7 games, something Kevin Durant was not able to do with a Kyrie Irving, when Giannis did not have a second banana that was on the level, a second all-star player that was on the level of a Kyrie Irving. He had Drew Holiday. Are we going to say that Drew Holiday is the same caliber of player as Kyrie freaking Irving? And Giannis was able to take that team 7 games, and he actually shot a better field goal percentage against that team. I think he had multiple 40-point games in that series. And you're going to tell me at the end of all of that, your conclusion is that somehow KD is better than Giannis? How? How did you reach that conclusion? So to me, I thought that was also absurd. Made no sense. The other players he had in the top 5 are understandable, but that right there didn't make any sense. And I don't know what it is with Skip and Giannis Antetokounmpo. So here is my current top 5 players going into next season. This is my top 5, and I'm going to tell you the list, and I'm also going to explain the reasoning behind it. Number 1, I think the number 1 spot should be Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in basketball last season, and I think he should be given that respect going into next season. So that's number 1. Number 2, and I'm going to surprise a lot of you, I have Kevin Durant as the second best player going into the season next year. Just for the simple fact that KD is that dude. He was out there. He was putting in work. Although his team got swept in the first round before he got injured, the Brooklyn Nets were the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and Kevin Durant is a hell of a player, and I just believe he's the second best player. And then I'm going to to surprise all of you again, I'm going to put Stephen Curry for a few reasons. Number 1, Stephen Curry he's fresh off of Finals MVP. The championship is going to be going through the Golden State Warriors, and I'm going to give him the same respect that I gave to Giannis Antetokounmpo the year prior when the Milwaukee Bucks won the championship, and I said the championship goes through him, and he's also the Finals MVP. So these 3 players, in my opinion, are the top 3 players in the NBA. Then, at number 4, I have Kawhi Leonard. Regardless of whether or not he's been there or not, I have him as the 4th best player. And then, yes, I have Kawhi Leonard, the 4th best player, and the reason why I'm not going to put him at the top, and here's why. Even though I personally believe in my heart that Kawhi Leonard is the best in the world, I think Kawhi Leonard will have to remind the world. I think Kawhi will actually have to go out there, play a lot of games, have a fantastic season, have a fantastic run, and take the Clippers to the finals. Then I think people will give him his just due, right? Because even when we put up these polls, the reoccurring comment that we get is that, Kawhi Leonard, he'd have to prove it. He has to prove it. He has to play. He has to play. So I understand that. So for that reason, I'm going to hold out, right? I believe he can do it, but nevertheless, he still has to do it. And I cannot superimpose my opinion on the audience just because I like Kawhi. So no, I have him at number 4. And then number 5, I have Joel Embiid. I think Joel Embiid should be there. And it's either a toss-up. It's either going to be Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic, I think, is a tie. And then, of course, you have Luka Doncic. Now, some people may disagree and say, no, I think Luka should be there, whatever. But I think Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic were the runners-up. I mean, Nikola Jokic was the MVP last season, and Joel Embiid was the runner-up. And then Luka, of course, he's a great player, and I think he's up there. But the premium that those guys give you, especially Joel Embiid, with his scoring, his efficiency, his defense, that accounts for something, right? That accounts for something. And I have Luka right there. So some people are going to disagree, but that's my top 5. That's my top 5. I don't think any top 5 starts. I don't think you can start any top 5 without having Giannis Antetokounmpo in the first spot, Kevin Durant in the second spot. If you disagree, maybe you can change them up, but I think Giannis has to be number 1. And then you have to have Stephen Curry. And then you go from there. To me, I don't understand how the hell he had KD and LeBron tied when the Nets at least made it into playoffs. Then they lost, but the Lakers didn't even make it into the play-in. And somehow you still have them tied. So to me, that was totally confounding. So that's my list. And what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think? Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comment section. We catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.